March, and we're going to talk about some things that are in the news that have been going on in the county right now. One of the biggest ones everybody's still talking about is PAWS. Some Yahoo decided to break into PAWS and vandalize everything, and talk about where we are there. And
it was a Yahoo male and a Yahoo female,
two Yahoos,
allegedly, and of course they're on camera, and probably around $40,000 worth of damage was done. I mean, they wrecked the place, just threw stuff, tore stuff up. No animals were harmed, thank goodness. But we will be filing an insurance claim, and we were also very pleased to receive some very nice donations from people who were very interested in helping us restore that situation. But that was a horrible situation. Thank goodness we had cameras there. And so we'll recover from it. And as you know, we were open the next day back in business. So that doesn't do anybody any good, and it's just tearing up stuff that we, you and me, taxpayers, have to pay for.
Yeah, and as part of that, is there going to be a new security system put in down there?
We will enhance the security system that's in place there, and it's a shame when you have people try to break into an animal shelter. And we do not keep any drugs that will make you alter your state of mind at that animal shelter, because that's usually what people go for. And as you know, they had already broken into a business before they got to this business. And so they were just working their way up the road. So
unless they had distemper or something,
they weren't going to get any relief there.
And most of the damage was not the good stuff they stole, it was just vandalism, right?
Pure vandalism, just throwing stuff around, just like in a frenzy. But hopefully that's behind us. Our staff rallied that day, and like I said, they were open the next day.
And even the cats that were in the window that were broken were okay. They didn't run away.
They didn't run away either.
They weren't hurt either. So,
no.
So PAWS then is going to move on ahead, and I noticed they just got an award from Humane Society.
Got the Spirit Award from the Humane Society. We're very pleased about that. That's just another recognition from people other than us noticing the good work that's going on at the animal shelter.
And moving ahead with the dog park,
And moving ahead with the dog park. And some of those donations that we received will be going to help with that dog park.
And the dog park's still on schedule, weather permitting, I guess, with all this rain.
The weather doesn't permit anything these days.
That's true.
I mean, we're sitting here, it's Monday morning, and we expect it to rain this afternoon. And
there's still mud from last week.
There's still mud from last week, and you have to let it dry out. So we've had a lot of projects that have been held up. But I will tell you that this weekend we completed the Haney Wall project at Broadway Lake, and we should be finishing the other wall project near the facility there this week. And so we're proud about that, and we will be raising the water at Broadway Lake starting today.
Well, other people will be glad to hear that.
So everything worked out on the schedule we had. Really like to thank Belk and Miller Construction for working real hard, and also thank our people from Roads and Bridges who did one of the walls. We did that in-house.
What about other construction projects that have been held up by the rain?
The terminal has been held up tremendously by the rain, and we're probably spending the last $19,000 on the East-West Parkway. That got held up by the rain, but you know, we didn't get the rain when we really needed the rain, because as you know, what we spent a lot of time on, and God bless the 8 fire departments who showed up to try to do something about that Viva Tire recycling. Viva Tire's been closed for some time.
Right.
And we think it was caused by an electrical line. But from about 7:30 the night before, and really all weekend, we've had people watching it and monitoring it. And we have requested that man give us that property. He told us no. Then he said, well, you can buy it from him. We said no. And after this weekend, I think he is very eager to give it to us. But if not, we're going to take that property and clean it up. It's one of council's #1 priorities. And plant it in trees and let it heal over time. Because those people who live down there don't need to be suffering from this. We don't need to be spending the money for some man's folly.
It's a real hazard to that community.
It's a big hazard. One of the saving graces, if there were any, is because of the weather that day, the smoke was going straight up. Now, we had hazmat people monitoring that air to make sure that it was safe for people to breathe. But I mean, whole lot of people, whole lot of resources. Really thank the people at the Homeland Park Fire Department. Chief Woody, as everybody knows, did a magnificent job. County Fire Commission did a wonderful job. All of the other supporting fire departments did a wonderful job. Our hazmat team did a wonderful job. Our county employees were literally in the fire at parts of the time, trying to dig through to clearing out the hot spots, and jumped right in there, and it was just a great team effort, and just proud that we're all part of it. But that's money that we spent and time that we spent on something that we didn't have any business doing. But DHEC has promised us that when we take control of the property, that they will pay to clean that site up, and we are holding them to that. And that was a promise and a pledge, and council expects them to fulfill that council and pledge.
So by this time
But at the
next
same
year,
time, when that's going on, Greg, and I'm down there, then I get a call that the health department's got a fire. So then we go deal with that because it was an electrical something that kicked off in the wall. So the fire was contained, but the smoke damage was terrible. So fire down there, fire over there. So we had a very interesting situation with fire that day.
well, it reminds everybody that we've got a lot of aging buildings and facilities and structures in the county that need a lot of work.
Well, they need a lot of work. I mean, we just put out bids the other day for some more buildings for roofs out at the Sheriff's Department, in that Sheriff's Department complex. As you know, there's a new roof on the new courthouse. There's a new roof on the museum. There's a new roof on the Civic Center. And it seems like every roof in the county is failing at the same time. But they've been there for 25 years, and so the council's really putting the money in there to fix these items up. So that's been a huge burden, but a necessary burden, because those buildings belong to the people. They don't belong to the council, and they don't belong to me. They belong to everybody in the county, and it's our duty to maintain them.
And commercial roofing's expensive.
Commercial roofing is very expensive, and with all of the construction work going on, you know, you have to be very careful on who you get and what happens.
So the rain, I guess it's delayed our sign down on 85 South.
Yeah, but we're awfully close on that. I wouldn't be surprised if that thing didn't show up there in about 2 weeks. That's what I'm betting. But again, that's delayed by the rain. And then as soon as we get that one on the Georgia side, then we can start doing something about the other entrances into Anderson, because we think they need to be just as pretty, maybe not as large, but just as pretty.
Yeah, and updated. There's some of the ones that are 25 years old.
Oh, there's some that are 55
right,
years old.
Welcome to Anderson County. But that one on 85 coming in, every time you come in, it is a thing to behold. It is a nice sign.
We receive compliments on that all the time. And we're hoping the same thing's going to happen with the sign on the Georgia side.
Well, we always circle back around to the Courthouse Square property. Where are we on that? And
I think we're getting a little bit closer, but not any place where anything's going to jump out in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We've had meetings with the developer. We've also had meetings with the city, because we're trying to coordinate everything. And council has to be exactly pleased with what it looks like in the financing package, even though the builder is going to pay for the building, but there's still a lot of other things going on. But you know, there's a lot of challenges that we have on a daily basis.
you think by summer we'll have some sort of drawing?
Yes, most definitely.
By summer we will.
By summer.
Right.
Not crying wolf this time, most definitely. I'm not saying that is the green light, because people need a chance to look at them, ask questions, explore, see what's going on. And I think that needs to be a pretty time-consuming part of this thing for the public to see and say what they like and what they don't like. So that's going to take some time.
And talking about the public input, that's underway now for the Dolly Cooper Park thing that
Yes.
Blake Sanders is doing.
Yes, Blake is heading up that so we can find out exactly what people want in Dolly Cooper Park. We have a pre-construction meeting tomorrow on the ramp project up at Dolly Cooper. If it ever quits raining, we will have the trail in there by Dolly Cooper. I think now we're looking changing it from possibly asphalt to concrete because of the water situation. So that's moving along. We opened bids on tearing down five more houses, and then we opened another set of bids to tear down the old house at Dolly Cooper and to tear down a house over there on Booker Street that is constantly flooded. So those are some of the things that we're going to do. And people like demolition projects better than they like building projects.
Well, and remind people why it's so difficult to get rid of these blighted buildings.
Well, they become a haven for drug dealers. That's what they become, and they use them and they take care of them. It also attracts rodents, and it drives down people's property tax values. And like those houses on Booker Street, I mean, that's the first place we go when there's a bad flood. You go there. We were down there getting people. I have to give credit to the rescue teams. We're down there going to people's houses by boat to see if they wanted to be evacuated. Because it wasn't a called emergency, they could decide to stay or not. And most of them decided to stay, and thank goodness the water went down pretty quickly. But going to somebody's house in a boat is a scary thing.
Yeah, you don't think about that in Anderson County. Well,
No.
And it's also expensive to tear them down, and there are landlords who are not living here that don't monitor their houses as well.
They're absentee landlords, one of the biggest problems we have. We just tore down one in the Homeland Park area. Nobody lived here and hadn't lived here for years. But it had so many owners in it, we finally just had to go to court because you couldn't round up everybody who had an interest in it. And when they found out it was gone, they said, oh, well, we wish we had known. Well, we wish you had responded, any member of that family, to any letter that we sent out, because South Carolina, United States, private property is almost supreme in everything. So people say, well, why don't you go over there and knock that house down right now and just fix them? It can take a year to go through that process. And that's moving along pretty good before you can do that. And now, with the latest change on DHEC, that we have to do asbestos abatement on every property we take down, even though we know some of them have no asbestos. That adds tremendously to the price of taking down a house. But we are trying, Ms. Floyd's trying, to get a grant from the Appalachian Council of Governments, Housing and Urban Development, to do some more major demolition in the Homeland Park area. So we have that going on there.
How expensive is it to take down an average?
We were getting them down for $2,500. When they popped that asbestos thing in there, that's jacking it up to around $10,000. And that's not a law, that was a ruling. And
our list in the county is 77. Is that somewhere? Who knows? Somewhere. But there's a lot of them.
Greg, there's probably 150.
But the ones
right
we've
now.
identified.
Yeah, in various stages of coming down and something being done with them. And sometimes, on rare occasions, we reach out and say we're going to do this. Then the homeowner will actually do it themselves. We've had cases where they do that. So that's been happening, but that's an ongoing situation.
And we finally got concrete, no pun intended, progress on the joint sewer plan with Pendleton and Clemson.
Well, we're not there yet, but it's still a good idea. I think Clemson's
pretty close, though, right?
Very close, and I think Anderson's getting closer, and Pendleton have to gauge on where they are because they own that treatment plant, and it may be a little scary for them to see that we're going to give it to this authority. So we're working through that. But the ultimate goal, the council's goal, is if we don't have to go build another treatment plant where there is a treatment plant, that might be the way to go. So just confine it there. Plus, it'll be more environmentally friendly.
It'll save everybody money, all three.
Everybody will save money, yes.
And everything else. Any big economic development things we need to talk about?
Well, we've got some expansions and some announcements that are coming, but if you notice, there seems to be a lot more commercial activity. And I think that's fixing to really go. Another thing that we've done is we've promoted Miss Adrienne Cole to be the Civic Center manager. I think that's been a very good step. She has taken that and she's running with it. And then we
explain what she'll do, because somebody asked me that the other day.
Well, what she does is actually what she did this weekend when we had the largest wrestling tournament in the state of South Carolina, state championship for the 11th year. She makes sure that the concession people work, that we set up, that we do that, the security's there. She does the booking and managing on a day-to-day basis, and it's already been a great improvement out there. And then Miss Alicia Hunter was promoted over planning and building codes and development standards. And what we're hoping for there is that all of that, they've been working very closely together, but now with one person at the top to make sure that everything meshes, we think we'll even have more economies of scale, but better service to the public, because that's the only reason we're here is to serve the public.
People have no idea what all they do down there in planning and stuff. It's
No, they don't.
pretty incomprehensive.
It is.
But back to the Civic Center, what are the goals for the Civic Center in the coming year?
Well, we're looking at a lot of we've got a wrestling show this weekend. Then after that, we've got a wrestling show the following weekend with 600 wrestlers, which means usually mom and dad, grandmama and granddaddy, and the children. So if you were riding around anywhere around the Civic Center, or you were at any restaurant this weekend, there were no hotel rooms, or very few hotel rooms left this weekend. And that's with 450 wrestlers. This one this
You can
weekend.
see the traffic.
Yeah, you can see the traffic. This one this coming weekend is going to be smaller, but then you have a 600. And that's going to put a whole lot of people in the area. And
Not
we
this
meet,
weekend, but next will be the 600 one.
and we meet with people in the hospitality business. We meet with hotel people, and we talk to them, and they recognize these people are coming in. And when they come in on those hotel rooms, we get a percentage of that to fund our other recreation projects, like Dolly Cooper and East-West Parkway, and improvements at the Civic Center. So that just feeds upon itself. And we're still working with an entity on a major development on Lake Hartwell. We're hoping that comes along pretty soon. The Corps of Engineers is doing their review right now. We think that would be a great addition. I've mentioned that before. So
let's talk about Visit Anderson. I don't think we've talked very much about Visit Anderson in our meetings. So let's talk about Visit Anderson and the things they do, because a lot of people don't really know.
Well, their job is to bring business in here, and their job is also to help us with wrestling, but it's also bringing in coach and bus tours. And we get a lot of those that people don't know about. A whole lot of people want to come see Pendleton, want to come see Anderson, go see Ava, and explore Anderson County, because we're putting that out there that this is a good place to come. The city of Anderson, a good place to come. So that's what they do. They also do a whole lot with fishing tournaments, and we have one of those just about every week. Mm-hmm. Some are small, some are large, but they bring a lot of people in. And I think the people in the restaurant and in the whole hospitality industry enjoy that, because that brings people here, and it brings fresh dollars in, not our own dollars recirculating, but other people's dollars. So that's what they do. Their job is to drive business to Anderson County.
And the last number I heard, I guess, on the fishing tournaments was $60 million.
$60 million, and it's only going to increase.
And Neil Powell loves to fish too, so that he gives.
Yeah, so he has a passion for it, and so we have that going on.
How about Green Pond? Where are we at? We talked about Broadway Lakes. How's the Green Pond construction?
Green Pond, they're about to wrap up that construction on those walls, increasing handicap parking, making it a little more fluid. We haven't had any time to do anything else. We think we're going to be receiving around $800,000, $850,000 in grant money for more improvements in Green Pond. And the reason we get that money from sport fishing grants and DNR is because they see what's happening there, and they want it to continue happening there. So they're giving us this money, not taxpayer money in Anderson County, but like sport fishing, that comes off licenses, you know? That's where that money comes from. And the other is a new initiative that PRT's putting together, and they want to give it to projects that bring people in from far away. And so they're almost like saying, you guys really need to, why don't y'all come get this money? So naturally, we're going to go get that money.
And that's we're going to be doing it 5 years. It's not a very,
only 5 years.
Like it's been there 25 years.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, tell me if I'm right, the main objective currently is to get straighter roads in there for the boats so they don't have to wind around.
Well, that's one of the things, to make some observation areas. You know, we have a restroom out there now. And, you know, you don't have to be a fisherman to go to Green Pond. You can go out there and just sit. And if you sit up on that high hill, that's an awfully pretty view. Or if you want to get in the greatest shape of any human in the world, you can walk the trail around Green Pond. But we want to make it more. It is a fishing destination, but it can be so much more.
It's a nice beach out there. People hadn't I see people sitting out there a lot.
Yeah, I've seen people out there too. But if we extend that dock, I think it's going to become a landmark. And we are going to extend that dock when we get this money. So I think that's going to be something. Just to go down there and walk on the dock's pretty cool, or go out on the dock and fish.
Well, the clock is ticking now on the new budget year coming in. What are some of the big challenges for the budget y'all are working on?
Same challenges you have every year. What is council? Where do they have to allocate this money? There's never enough money. There's never enough money for any city or county or any place else to do all of the things you'd like to do. So council has to sit down and examine what needs to be done and what they should do. Always remembering that their job is to make sure we have adequate sewer, that we do something with the roads, and that's probably the referendum that council's talking about, where everybody in Anderson County will have a chance to have their voice heard. And just things like that. Things cost more, but thank goodness our economy is growing. So we're not in a situation where our economy is shrinking, but it's going to be a challenge. It's a challenge every year. Things that council will be looking at is what more can we do on public safety, because they've made a big push on public safety by hiring more deputies, working towards getting body cameras, all of those things, because public safety really is the #1 priority for the council, and they spend a lot of time doing that. So it'll be challenging and fun, and the population's growing, and if you just ride around, this is not how it was. Just look at the traffic, just see the traffic, and I mean it's incredible, and it's not stopping.
Well, there used to be 100 great sites for somebody to locate. Now there may be 50 in the county. I mean, I remember
well, there may be 50,
land.
but we're working with people right now, private people who want to put up buildings for industry. And they're from Anderson County, and we absolutely love that, because they get in, they're going to build the buildings. The county, we don't have to do that anymore, because now that they see, since the county did it twice, that, hey, I can make some money on this and provide a service to the community. So we're expecting some good things coming out of the airport on that, and just a whole lot of stuff going on at the airport, because we need some things. But council has a special committee looking at how we can improve the airport, so that's going on right now.
And also part of the budget, again, the roads challenge. But a lot of people have asked, help me clarify to people what all the damage that was done by the bridges washed out and all that stuff.
Oh, that was a mess. Now,
how's that going to be paid for?
We have hit the limit where we can apply for reimbursement from FEMA, but we would get 80% of the money back. But that's 80%, so we got to come up with the 20%. So it's going to be a struggle, and you cannot wait until you put your money in your piggy bank to fix that bridge. You got to go fix that bridge. And so
and examine all the other bridges.
And here's another thing that I worry about, is with all of this water, and this has been water of an historic proportion, that when that starts going down, what's that going to do to the roads? It is going to impact those roads. And if you could imagine, if we had that water and it got down to 5 degrees, I mean, that would be catastrophic. It would absolutely be catastrophic.
And it could still happen in March. Has happened
and
in March
it could still happen in March. So we worry about that.
And to maintain and bring everything up to date and all, we need about $8 to $10 million a year, right, for roads, something like that.
Yeah, but if we had $40 million, we could go bang and be there. Right. But then as soon as you go bang and you're at the end, you got to continue to maintain those roads.
And that's why we've struggled, and that's why even 20% out of what we've tried to piece together is a tough thing to.
It's a tough call, but you know.
But they are examining all the bridges and all the.
And we do that all the time.
Right.
But the other thing is, I think with the new proposal, with the budget surplus in Columbia, they're going to add $100 million, hopefully, and Anderson County should get some of that money for the Anderson County Transportation Committee, who met last week and gave money to fix a lot of roads in Williamston, a lot of roads in Belton, and I think off the top of my head in Pelzer. So there's some really good road work money going into those 3 areas. And other towns will be getting that, but they will have more money to give to people. And you know, we had the head of the DOT come talk to us last week. Anderson, Oconee, Pickens, Abbeville, and of the big 4 projects, one of the big 4 projects is working from the Georgia line all the way to Greenville. Well, all the way to Greenville's almost there. So what they're talking about is going from here, Anderson, all the way back to the Georgia line and increasing the size of Interstate 85.
Boy, it sure needs it.
Yes, it needs it, and so that's on the big list. So we're happy about that, and we're waiting for something good to come along from that.
We've had a chance to see our new voting machines in action, and our folks down there seem really happy about the way that's working.
They worked very well, had no complaints, and they do one thing that I think is critical, and you have a paper ballot. I have never trusted a voting machine that is totally electronic. Don't trust them. And I'm not the only person. People all over the country said, you know, if my son can do this sitting in the bedroom, are you telling me you've got fail-safe mechanisms? No. So you have the paper ballot backup, and I think that is wonderful.
And you get to see it. It's in your hand. You get to look at it,
and you get to look at it and make sure it's right. And I think that should give everybody a feeling of comfort.